Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. My name's Soleil and I garden in a Zone 5B in mid-Michigan. And today we're going to be planting up some baskets as well as some pots. And we have a lot of different plants to do that with today. Some of them I've grown from seed, some of them I just recently got. And so we're going to start with our hanging baskets, and right now our hanging baskets really are full of roots and old soil, so we're going to get rid of that, and then we're going to fill it up with some fresh soil that has some nice organic fertilizer mixed into it, and we're going to pot these up. And what we're going to pot them up today with is we're going to use some of the dianthus that I got the other day. This one doesn't have any blooms on it, so let me just show you the blooms on this. So we're going to use this dianthus, which is a perennial. It's sold as an annual, and I can use this in the ground when I'm done with it in the fall. And then I also have some lobelia, which is a trailing blue plant, and I grew these from seed. I've got quite a few of these, so I might need to grab a couple extra of these. We'll see. The important thing is I don't want to stuff this too full, because if I stuff it too full, I'm going to end up with just some stressed plants that don't get enough water or enough nutrients for the whole growing season. And I need them to last all the way through the growing season because I don't like to change out my planters. So we'll just take the soil out. The other plant that I'm going to use is a geranium, and we'll show you that in a little bit. And that's kind of going to be the tallest plant in this group, and that geranium is going to be one of the ones that I grew from seed. So again, I'm just basically kind of digging out all of this soil that has roots in it from last season, and this will go in my compost bin. There was definitely a lot of roots in here, so this is a hoary knife. I love it. I got this one from Emerging Green, and this is my second year using it, and it's quite sturdy. And it does all sorts of things for me, like opening my plastic bags of mulch or of potting mix. And then I also do have 2 cocoa coir liners in this because I feel like that helps to provide a little bit more protection against the winds and the baskets drying out. And I'm just going to reuse these this year. They are getting a little bit worse for the wear, but right now I'm still fine with them. I might have to replace them next year. All right, so now I'm just going to fill a little bit of the bottom of this. See, it's about halfway full maybe. And here we have the geranium that I planted from seed. So there are a few of them in this pot, and I'm just going to dig one out. These are really easy to grow from seed, so if you've never tried growing a geranium from seed, I highly recommend it. And then I'm just going to tuck this one towards the back, because again, this one's going to be about the tallest plant within this planter. The next up, we're going to pop in 2 dianthus, and these dianthus should get to be about 12 inches high by 12 inches wide. And I'm just going to put them right on the edge. I want to make sure I get a little bit of soil between them and the cocoa coir liner. One of the things that I probably should do to try to get this geranium to branch more, which I'm, going to have to fight myself on, is to cut it back, to cut the tip off, and that will help it to really become bushier. And it's really hard to do that if you've grown something from seed, at least for some of us gardeners, where you feel like you're harming the plant and you miss the top of it and you have to wait a few weeks for it to grow back, but it's really definitely worth it in the long run. Now this lobelia is actually quite a few different plants. The roots look really good. It's just just right at this point for planting in here. Yeah, I think this is going to be just right in terms of the amount of plants that I have within the basket. I don't want to get it again too full because these are going to continue to fill out, and I want to make sure they have plenty of root space. So this lobelia will just flow down the front. We'll have these nice mounds with the pink flowers, and then this is also either a pink or a purple. I can't remember because I grew both kinds and the tags are kind of shuffled, but it doesn't matter to me because they're both really beautiful and they're not that different. One is just a lighter pink, and then the purple one actually looks to me like it's kind of a deep pink. So I'm not all that worried if they don't perfectly match. These are going to be, you know, probably about 15 or 20 feet away from each other, so it doesn't have to be perfectly matchy-matchy for me. All right, this one looks great. Let's do the next one. All right, same story on this planter. We're just going to make sure that we get out some of these old roots because it really won't leave enough room for the new roots. And this potting mix was used all season last year. So it'll be good to have a nice fresh mix in here. Okay, let's get a little bit more soil in here and then we'll get planting. Now, after I'm done planting these, I definitely need to water them in well because this is just fresh potting mix. It is not moist at all. So I do have a tag in this pot that says Maverick Pink, and they're all in the same pot, so maybe these are the same. I'm not really sure, but we'll put up a picture of the Maverick Pink geraniums for you. The nice thing is now that other geranium that is in that pot will have room to grow on and thicken up a little bit, because it really was too small of a pot for an entire season of growing those geraniums. You'll see I have some yellowing leaves. That's because I put these out rather early this year, but that's fine. These are going to grow really well now that the summer is starting to come on. We're in late spring now and the temperatures have finally gotten much nicer. It's a bit of a cold spring, and so things are a little bit behind in the garden, and I feel a little bit behind on some of my tasks as well, but normally I wouldn't be planting out these planters until about this time of year anyways, because this is right around the time of our last frost date. It's so fun to see how well some of these plants have grown on, and these lobelia, I actually cut these back recently just to make sure that they bushed out as well, because they were a little bit leggy. Well, there we go, planter number 2. All right, let's do some pots that we have in the potager garden too. Okay, now we're gonna pot up this cute little blue pot that I have here, and it is fairly small, but I think it's gonna look lovely in the potager. So we're gonna put 3 of the lobelia plants in there so they just spill over, and I think that's gonna look really lovely with the deep blue of the flowers and the light blue of the pot. Now if you see these funny flowers next to me that look like they have been eaten alive, it's true. They have been, because we have a resident groundhog that I think it might live under our deck. I'm not sure if it lives there, but it definitely spends a lot of time there. And whenever we leave the garden, it likes to come out and enjoy its time eating my plants. So I'm trying really hard to figure out ways to protect them right now. It's not easy. So this is just going to be a really nice simple pot, and if you're not sure what to do with a planter, sometimes the best way to go is by using multiple plants of the same type, because you don't have to worry about mixing and matching. You don't have to worry about whether you have a thriller, a spiller, or a filler. You can just make sure that you have a plant that you enjoyed looking at, and that's the important part. You do want to make sure that you have good soil for the plant. So now I'm just going to fill in with some of that fresh soil we made. I don't need a lot of additional soil in here, just enough to tuck it in between these plants and really make sure there's good contact with the roots. And then, like I said, when I'm all done with all of the planters that we get done today, I'll come through and water each and every one of them. Right now I just want to get these plants into each of the pots that we're working with. I love the fact that I'll be able to see what these look like after growing them on from seed. So again, I think this looks really lovely. It's just a nice simple pot, and I'll show you where we're going to put it. I think this pot looks really cute right along the border here, so we'll walk by it every time that we go into the potager from the house. And we have a couple of planters over here as well that will help to tie in the theme that I'm going with right now. We have some of the bunny's tail grass that I grew from seed. We have the lobelias, 4 of those, and then we also have 4 snapdragons, and these are just some very small light pink snapdragons, and they match on both sides of this. So that's going to be a really nice flowery entrance soon. Next up, we're going to work on these pots right over here in the potager. So these are 2 green and white pots that I got from my mother-in-law, and I plant them up every year. This year we're going to go with some ranunculus, some lobelia, and some geranium. We're also throwing in some lobelia to trail over the sides, so we'll have a bit of that thriller, spiller, and filler all throughout this. I get a lot of questions about where I get my supplies. This scoop is a really old scoop. I got it from Walmart a long time ago on sale. The plastic's coming off on the outside of it, but it has a wooden handle beneath, so I think it's going to last still for many more years to come. This black bin that I put my soil in is just a concrete mixer bin, and I got it at Home Depot for like maybe $10, so it's a really easy thing to have around the garden. Now the soil in these pots is still really good. I used them last year, but I also have kind of filled it with some fresh soil this year. And we're going to continue that same theme of what we were doing in the hanging baskets in here. So we're going to have this geranium in the back. Again, I grew this from seeds, so they are still a little small right now, but they're going to look gorgeous. And then I have a couple of ranunculus that we're going to tuck in on both sides. You can see these have really nice healthy roots too. One more on this side. Look at all those gorgeous roots. This is my first year growing ranunculus, so it's supposed to bloom for about 90 days, at least that's what the seed packet said, or the corm packets I should say, because these are grown from corms and not seed. And then we're going to tuck in that lobelia in the front, and then we're going to put 2 right in the back. It was really fun this year actually growing a lot more of my plants from seed and from starts. It's definitely saved me a lot of money and allowed me to get a little bit sooner start on planting things out. Now we're going to take these smaller lobelia pots and we're just going to put them right behind the ranunculus. That way from all different sides we'll be able to see something beautiful trailing over the edge. And even though these look like they are all green right now, we are going to have color really soon and it's going to be gorgeous. I cannot wait. Definitely something to look forward to. think that fills up this pot really nicely. Let's do the other one now. Same thing over here, we're just going to plant up the exact same plants and make it a bit symmetrical. One of the things that I like to do in my garden is to have informality but also formality. So I like to have a good mix of things that kind of look a little bit wild or rustic and things that look a little bit more refined, like topiaries and matching containers. So I think this will bring a little bit of that to this area. So again, we'll start with the geraniums here. And I like to leave a bit of a lip just for the watering of the plants. Gives me easy access and it makes sure that the water doesn't run off. But I also don't want the plants to be buried by the soil, so it's important that the crowns, as you plant them, are above the soil level. Ooh, this one I think is going to have a lot of roots. Let's see. Yeah. And we'll put this nice full one of lobelia in the front here. And these ranunculus, this is the same mix I was working with in the raised brick garden bed. So that's a really nice fun way again to create that continuity throughout the entire garden. This is the secret garden mix. And the animals don't like the lobelia or the ranunculus or the geraniums. So hopefully these will be a good choice for this particular area. Right now I'm on the south side of the house and behind me is the south. So behind these pots are the south. So these should get a good amount of sunshine and be really happy in this area. Let's take a look at how both of them look together. I think the two of those look really nice. That looks fresh and lovely. Now I do need to decide what I'm going to do in this pot right here in the middle. I had to put that pot there because the groundhog was figuring out ways to open up that door and get into my strawberry patch, and I can't have that. So we'll be putting some flowers in there as well. Maybe a geranium or maybe something just really simple as well, but I'm not sure yet. All right, next up we have a honeysuckle vine to plant. Let's go. Okay, so over here I have created this kind of new little corner area with two boxwoods by my Buddha in these blue planters, and I really like using blue and green planters around the pool. I think they look really great. And one of the things that I wanted to do was create a vine to go up this. Last year I tried Morning Glory and I wasn't really happy with it. It didn't do well with the heat, and it's not really that close to watering. I do have to pull the hose all the way out here to get to these, so I don't like to water them more than like a couple of times a week. So I think I found a plant that will enjoy this space, and this is a goldflame honeysuckle. And the goldflame honeysuckle is supposed to bloom all spring, summer, and fall. So I think we're getting ready to go into the time when it will start to put some buds out for blooming. I got this one at Lowe's for about $19.98, and this is Lonicera Beckrati Goldflame, and this one is hardy down to zone 4. I am in a zone 5B, which means I'm close to a zone 6 but not totally, so I don't know whether this one will winter over or not, but I might try it. It's worth a shot. It's hardy all the way down to approximately -30, so that's pretty good. And again, I shouldn't have to water this more than twice a week. So this looks really good, but what I need to do is dig out some of the soil that's been in this planter because it is old, and I need to refresh it and get this in. All right, let's see how hard this is going to be to get out. I think I refreshed some of this soil last year, but in here last year, like I said, we had a Morning Glory and we had some petunias as well. So we're definitely changing it up this year. I did kind of sprinkle some of the petunia seeds in here thinking I was gonna, you know, potentially see those grow, but I don't think so. I really wanted to go for something that will vine, and if I want some petunias, I can get those from the store if I want to. This planter, I'm really digging deep because this has a much larger root ball than the small flowers that we were planting in the other pots, so it's really important to make sure that the whole pot has the right kind of soil in it. Okay, let's test this out. Wow, those are some serious roots in there. And I am not going to try to untwine them. Now today I'm not going to try to do much of anything to try to get these vines climbing around the poles or anything like that. I just want to get it settled into its home. I want to get the soil in around this root ball and get it watered in. Today is a perfect day for transplanting because it's a good temperature out, it's not too hot, and we have a little bit of overcast skies, which is always much easier on the plants. I try to avoid days where it's full sun and hot out because it definitely causes some stress if you're transplanting. If you don't have many shady days where you are, I would just recommend waiting until the evening so that they at least can be in a lower range of the sun and they have the opportunity to recover overnight. All right, let's take a look at how this looks. Isn't that cute with the Buddha down at the base? And then I just love the boxwoods on either side. And that is going to make me really happy to see this goldflame honeysuckle in bloom behind it. I think that makes for a great corner. And just look at those tulips blooming in the background. Isn't that lovely? Okay, I'm going to hang up the hanging baskets that we potted up and show those to you as well so you can see what those turned out to be. First, I just need to take these lights down. These are some wonderful solar lights that I have, but now it's light out during the day and it stays late much longer into the evening. So we don't need these lights now. It's time to replace them with the lovely hanging baskets we just made. All right, it is all nice and watered in, and while it doesn't look like a whole lot right now, it is going to be really beautiful soon. Well, thanks for joining me today, everybody. I hope you had some fun with me potting up some pots. I know it's so exciting to me to begin to fill in some of the spaces in the garden and add a little bit of color. Are you guys planning on planting up any pots? If so, what are some of the things that you're using this year? Put it down in the comments. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll talk to you next time. See you soon. Bye.